Whenever I have this trailer out, some old codger will stop me and say, "Hey, that's a cute little trailer you got there." I don't know whether to thank him or punch him. So if you're ever wondering how to get everybody in your immediate neighborhood to mow their lawn all at the same time, just set up a video camera and shoot something in your backyard. So this is our little trailer. It's about 6 feet by 3.5 feet. The brand is Aerotow. These were made, I think, in Southern California about 25 years ago. We bought it, my parents bought it for camping we would tow it behind our Bronco. We had a 83 Bronco, and it was my parents and me and my two sisters sitting in the back of that thing, and we got tired of, we'd pack it up to the level of the seat, and we'd pack it to the top of the seats, and we'd have this little crappy barbecue grill we'd throw on top, and that thing kept falling over and hitting us in the head, and they got tired of us complaining about that, so they went and they bought this trailer, and it held the cooler, all our camping gear, all our climbing gear, and basically sleeping bags was all that was in the back of the car. This has been down a ton of dirt roads. Four-wheel driving a little bit, it'll go over rocks. It's not that heavy, so you can kind of drag it over anything. It's taken some damage. One of the fenders, I think the other fender, my dad ripped it off going through some rocks. But it's pretty cool. Let me just walk around and show it to you. This is the bracket for the shelf for the table. This little hole here is for a awning. They originally came with an awning. Yeah, I don't know what that is either. It's the tail light. Yep. The springs are just regular leaf springs with sliders instead of shackles. It's got an axle there. There's one modification I made to it is I put this trailer hitch on it right there with the reinforcement to allow me to put a hitch-mounted bike rack on there, so I can put two bikes on the back of it. I have to be real careful about loading it though, because otherwise I got to load all the heavy stuff in the front, or else it won't have enough tongue weight. Inside it's just a plain old box. As you can see, it'll hold the coolers and our camp kitchen and a bunch of gear. In the front here it has a compartment. It's big enough for food or sleeping bags or camping gear or whatever. The front is just a regular drawbar with this little pinch bolt or set screw wheel. The wheel's kind of been through it, needs to be replaced. It's really nice. It's got running lights on the side, good fenders. Here's some repair work we had done to the fender. Right here it was all bent. I think it got hung up on a rock or something. Aerotow is the brand. We used to see these around all the time in California. I saw one last year. I see about one a year when we're out traveling and doing trips and stuff. These hinges, you can pull one of these bolts off, pull this off, and you can pull both hinges out and slide the door all the way off, the lid all the way off, so you can use it as kind of a pickup or a flatbed. We've done that a couple times. The tailgate comes down and has this little chain to keep it flat. Back up and locks in like that. It's not the best way to do it, but it works. And then when the lid's closed, you can't open the tailgate, which is pretty nice. Here's another look at that hitch. What are you doing? Okay, it's fully wired, but the wires aren't tucked away anywhere, so they get kind of messed up. Hey, don't touch the camera. Axle is probably like a 2,000-pound axle. And then the springs, I had the springs replaced once. They're pretty stiff. So this thing bounces a lot if it's not fully loaded. What? What's your point? You have something to say?
Yeah.
What do you have to say?
Yeah.
Don't touch the camera! So this one time I had this thing, I hauled it all the way up to the end of the road in the White Mountains. We were gonna go hike the White Mountain, the road up to the top of White Mountain. And I'd hauled it all the way up there with my Subaru. Super rough road, got beat up, was bouncing around all over the place. So we got there, we unloaded, we set up camp, and the next morning this dude who we'd passed on the way up in a Mercedes, he was in a Mercedes car, just an old Mercedes. He comes up to us, he says, "That's a cute little trailer you got there." And he says, that thing have a spare tire? And I was like, that's kind of a weird question. And I was like, yeah, it's right up under here. And I went to point to it and it wasn't there. And he's like, and he takes me over to the back of his car and he opens the trunk and he pulls out my spare tire, which had fallen off, and he picked it up for me. So it has a spare tire. It's up here now, welded to the front, bolted up under there, and we've never even had to use it, which is good because it's totally flat right now, as are both of the tires that are on it, because they're 25 years old and need to be replaced. So there are actually two versions of this trailer when it was around, and you'll see them around sometimes. There was a long version, it was maybe about a foot longer, and that one had an option to have a tent zip into it. So when you open up the lid, a tent would zip around it, you could sleep inside it. The other option was, you saw on the brackets, there was a square post that would come out, so you could get a square piece of metal and it would make a big awning that would set up above it. But this is a pretty basic one, the short bed, no options. So this is a tire off of my 4Runner. I got a new set of tires and wheels, and I still have these. So what I really want to do is mount these up on the trailer. Problem is they're way too big. The fender's gonna have to come off, and the axle's gonna have to come to be about 5.5 inches wider, and it's gonna have to be 6-bolt instead of 4-bolt. And I'm probably gonna want to get different springs, maybe like a torsion axle or a timbering axle or something like that. But then I would have this thing be up a little bit higher. It would definitely go anywhere, and I would be able to have an extra spare basically for the vehicle. I'd have the exact same set of tires and wheels for the trailer as I have for the truck. So that's what I want to do. Plus I could put some jerry can mounts on it on the sides. I could put a rack on the top for more bikes, because I need to carry 4 bikes, not just 2. Water, you'd have water built into it, lights, batteries. Okay, the boy's eating something back there, I gotta go find that. Okay, he was just eating dirt, no big deal. So that's pretty much it. Cool little trailer, weighs about 700 pounds with nothing in it. Oh, look at that snot coming out of his nose. Disgusting. Okay, I think it's got like a 2,000-pound capacity total. Don't let the tire fall on you. It's been great. It's like bomb-proof. Some little bits and pieces have broken here and there, but it's all been easy to fix. So I can't decide if I want to sell it and move on to something else, or spend some money and fix this thing up. What do you think? Let's go. Let's go. Let's get it.